We are live. I hope we're live. It looks like we're live. I think we're live. And, you want to remember? Yeah, we're going to need that microphone. So here it is, guys. I told you it was happening. I thought it was going to happen a little later tonight. I was going to do a alien video, which I think I'm going to do later, or UFO video, disinformation video, that whole fun stuff. Yeah.
I could have come by later if you wanted me to.
What? No. You got to keep that thing up there. Listen, this is going to be amateur hour because it's my first time having a guest in-house. But obviously, I'm sitting here with Dylan Avery. If you guys don't know who Chillin' Dylan is over here, he is currently the man behind Black and Blue. That's blackandblue.com, or blackandbluefilm.com, excuse me, and
or just Black and Blue on Facebook. Does anyone even use like websites anymore?
It's kind of crazy that they don't, right? But you can't use Facebook either because the algorithm's just going to take its fist and ram it up your keister. Anyway, yeah, even if you want to pay for it. Even if you want to pay for it, that's
even if you try to boost a post, it's like, we're not going to do that.
We're not boosting. There's no boosting house. We'll just take your money. So anyway, Dylan also behind Loose Change, of course. Dylan, you did that coffee film too, right? What was that?
I did Buzzkill in 2010 when I was living in San Diego. A mutual friend wanted to go 21 days without coffee, and I just thought it would be like a fun thing to shoot, like just for shits and giggles. So I did. Did I just demonetize you? Well, you're already demonetized.
No.
Anyway.
We can. You're fine. We're gonna say whatever we want.
All right.
Yeah, we're fine.
So I made a doc about a guy going 21 days without drinking coffee. That is on Amazon Prime, free to watch if you feel like watching it for some reason. And then I got my CBD doc, Magic Molecule, coming out in July 23rd. And another doc that I edited and co-produced went to Slamdance this year. Professional, a Stevie Blatt story, also available on Amazon Prime. But
So wait, is there a certain place in Amazon Prime they can just get you? Up to your mouth, damn it.
I'm sorry. I imagine like if you go to because it's like it's not like linked with IMDb, but it kind of works the same. So like if you have if it says director Dylan Avery and you click my name, it should bring up Buzzkill, it should bring up Black and Blue, and it should bring up The Professional too. So.
Okay, awesome. Very, very cool. So, guys, here's the deal. This is how we're gonna run this thing. Check this out. We're gonna do it. We can even do a little bit of AMAing. So if you've got an actual question, I'm not going to guarantee everything. I will guarantee super chats because the Bermas Brigade is growing strong. I'm giving you guys a little update, Ski and Hutch. But we are almost at 21,400. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Believe me, this is going to be a fun one. When we hit 30,000, we can have members. We want to stay on the YouTube platform. Hey, YouTube, I'm not a prick. I promise you, I'm a totally reasonable guy. I'll sit down and talk with any of you. I'm not about right or left. I don't like war. I don't like bombing brown people. I don't like faking things in the Gulf. I don't like mustachioed madmen that are like frothing at the mouth to take down Iran. I don't like those things, but we can get along. So we want to stay on the platform. Once you get to 30,000, you can have members, right? And even though YouTube takes a hefty cut, we're talking about a fist a lot. They take about 30%.
Sir Fist a lot.
I mean, they go in and they're grabbing your bowels. They're taking a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But
if you're not careful, you're going to reach the back of your teeth.
But yeah, exactly. But that gives them an incentive to stick around. Also at 30,000, other than just the memberships and the perks and stuff like that, we're going to do T-shirts. Get ready. Bermas Brigade is coming. It's going to be everywhere, Dylan. So, I mean, my question to you, sir, is the Middle East right now, it's kind of pivoted. For instance, number one, there's not a lot of vocal voices on any side of the media against the war, one. And at least when we were around, there were vocal people in the mainstream, at least against Iraq. There were the cheerleaders, O'Reilly and Hannity, but a lot of them got called out. And the left and right, very much were working together in many instances saying, no, we don't want to do this. There were the hardcore, up Cheney's bottom dollar and I can't wait to Rumsfeld. But for the most part, people didn't, they had some discernment. I feel like the Obama administration wiped that away. Everybody was just completely oblivious to what was going on in Syria, AFRICOM, Libya. Basically everything Wesley Clark said that was going to take 5 years had now taken 12 to 15. And here we are at a juncture where if we do Iran, that's all of them. That's all the dominoes fallen, and no one seems to be saying a fucking word. I mean, when Tucker Carlson, a man who I was not fond of a decade ago, to say the least, is the most vocal anti-war voice.
You know you have a problem.
We have a huge problem. So what is your opinion on this? I mean, are we just that much more apathetic? Is it selfie nation over here? It's like, oh, I gotta fucking be on Snapchat. I don't care if brown people die. What's going on?
I was having a pretty similar conversation a while back. I'm in like a group Facebook chat with my buddy in West Virginia and two of his friends, and one way or another, like, war and protesting came up, and basically it's like I said the same thing that I think I accidentally just turned it off. I said the same thing that I've been saying for a while, is that I think that the Obama administration did usher in kind of an era of complacency. Just basically the idea that, not to like marginalize it or like make it like sound smaller than it really is, but basically we have a black president. Everything's cool now. Like, and especially coming off of the heels of the Bush administration, where we all assumed like, oh well, the Bush administration's gonna leave the White House and they're gonna walk into a courtroom, right? Like that's how this is gonna work. So when Obama was just elected and there was really no accountability for the Iraq War, which you'd think would have been a catalyst for people to be upset. Yeah, it really was. Like, Obama took office and suddenly it was like, oh, well, those are all yesterday problems. Like, war and, all the things that are happening that have been happening for the last, 7-8 years or so. It's no longer our problem because Obama's our president now. And
he got that Nobel Peace Prize right out of the gate.
Nobel Peace Prize.
Hey-oh! I got elected! I was a state senator, and then all of a sudden I was a senator for less than a term. Everybody fucking loved me. They put me on goddamn fucking Rolling Stone as Jesus Christmas, and everybody bought into it. I got a cool persona. I can shoot hoops, and I'm the hip dude. I wouldn't do anything wrong, ever. And I'm just like, and by the way, if you're Jason Bermas and you criticize him, and even though obviously I'm not the whitest guy, you're a racist. You are a racist. Didn't matter that, in 2008 I voted for a black woman for president. That was also a sexist when I didn't want to vote for Hillary in 2016, by the way.
I voted for Cynthia McKinney, too, in 2008.
That's right. We both voted Green Party back then. Yeah, and it wasn't because I was a Green Party guy. Everybody knows that I'm not a Republican, a Democrat. That's all Johnny nonsense. It's not about left or right. It's about right and wrong. It's a power structure that is so great that, let's be honest, all this let's talk about it. We haven't had a sit-down political conversation in a very long time. Now I feel like the media tries to play up this hype of super right versus super left, right? So either you're going to get triggered or you're a conservative or, it's all about transgender or it's all about, I hate lesbian, just nonsense. There's no middle ground. And we live in a very middle ground place. And I think that about 95% of America does, and they don't realize that. So all of this hype, the bottom line is, the left's problems are the right's problems. They're struggling to pay their bills. They're struggling to keep a roof over their head, pay their health care, get their kids into a actual education system that'll benefit them. They're not just going to be in debt for the next...
just have a useless degree.
Yeah, a useless degree that, hey, I get to live with my parents till I'm 35, and then hopefully they die, and I get their house, and I maybe can get a job at Burger King.
But I got that bachelor's degree.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not flipping burgers at Burger King. I'm maintaining the robots that are taking the orders. That's all I'm commissioned to do.
I do the oil change for the burger machine. That's my job.
I mean, again, and I'm not trying to demean any of those jobs. I'm just saying that automation is taking over even, those kind of jobs. Service industry. You work in a Amazon factory. The Walmart distribution center is around here. Those type of jobs. The robots are coming. That's the real deal. I'm going to take an AMA question, guys. I saw a really good one.
Who's this guy, Jason? Someone missed the intro.
This is Dylan Avery, creator of Loose Change, and what's Black and Blue is the name, right? Black and Blue film. I need to see that one. I haven't watched that. All right, so this was a cool AMA question. In all of your research, what is the creepiest or mind-blowing bit of unknown, unwritten history you have come across? Question for both of you. I'd like to answer that first. Can you hand me the book you were looking at a moment ago?
Segue into the next 20 minutes of the show.
We're going to go light on this. Guys, the Franklin scandal is a follow-up to the Franklin cover-up. Franklin cover-up by State Senator John DeCamp and lawyer. Now, I'm not saying everything in that book is true. I've done a ton of research on this now. This follow-up found more victims and more victims seem to come forward in what I would call.
So that is a follow-up. I couldn't tell if that was a...
This is the follow-up.
Because the first one was the Franklin cover-up, so this is the Franklin scandal.
Yes, this is somebody who went in to try to disprove I interviewed him about 10 years ago. This is a signed copy. But
I did see that.
yeah, if
Where'd you meet him?
I didn't meet him. He mailed it to me after we did it. We did it back in the InfoWars days when they were not tomorrow's news tomorrow, but they were and a propagator for the administration, but they did actual news at times. So anyway, like this whole section right here is all just documents, handwritten notes, FBI files. It's the craziest stuff ever, and it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's stuff we're not going to talk about because I'd like to keep it monetized, but with the Sandusky's of the world, with Epstein, all of this and more has been utterly confirmed. And although some people are going to tell you it's a carefully crafted hoax, I'm going to tell you right now there's some meat and potatoes in there. And although some of it may not be, 100% factual, you try being an a person of that kind of abuse and alleged mind control as a teenager. That's where some of these accusers come out, and I'm going to tell you right now, there's some dark shit in the world. So that was mind-blowing to me, and believe me, I've looked into a ton, just about anything out there. We've had discussions about the lizard people.
Mostly in jest, but we have.
Well, I mean, obviously we're not like, all right, Dylan, I wanted to do this.
We need to talk about the lizards.
Yeah, listen, I love this whole 9/11 thing we're doing, but come on, it's time. It's time to Anunnaki right now. We're doing it. No, it's not like that. But we're open-minded guys. I've looked at evidence of anything. It doesn't hurt to look. Have discernment afterwards. Dylan, your question.
That's actually. I don't want to just default to 9/11. It was the most mind-blowing, right? The creepiest or mind-blowing of unknown, unwritten history. I mean, I don't want to just say 9/11, but I mean, we're still in the post-9/11 world.
Well, I would say that's more important. You know what I mean? For me, listen, don't get me wrong. That was whoa, holy shit, whoa. And that's why I went full force, because I felt the importance of it at the time. We're pre-Iraq war guys questioning this stuff. That's a generation ago almost. It's 15 plus years. People don't understand that. However, now, in retrospect, there's no doubt about it. Pompeo right now is talking about using that AUMF, the Authorization of Military Force from 2001, which is the Military Authorization Act that's so broad that if you just say Al-Qaeda, if the Al-Qaeda is involved, we are going to take them out. We're going to make it into a fucking sandcastle, glass fucking pavement. And we're going to get
It's ISIS now, I'll have you know.
Yeah, but it's not in the document.
I know.
It doesn't matter that we actually, worked with al-Qaeda over in Syria through al-Nusra and other fronts and their connections.
Mujahideen, the Soviets, 1980s, all that fun stuff.
Rub-a-da-doo! In fact, I did a video. We're gonna show that video to the kids, and then we're gonna take an AMA. Good AMA questions we're gonna answer. We'll answer all super chats.
Only the good ones, though.
Yeah, exactly. Only the good ones. But just so everybody understands how Iraq and Iran were being sold as a package deal with bin Laden all the way back in 1999, I've got a little video called The Man Who Sold Us the Boogeyman in 1999. You're looking at Yosef Bodansky, the dual Israeli citizen and counterterrorism expert on just about every board you can imagine, who wrote the book on bin Laden back in 1999.
Literal book? Or?
It's absolutely the book. It's
actual book on bin Laden.
100%. He wrote the book on bin Laden. And this is me breaking down him talking about the Iraq and Iran connections then, him talking about the book, how he was the big terrorist threat, and lo and behold, it all happens. And this is on, I'm not sure if Brian Lamb is on this one, but it's C-SPAN. He's selling a book on C-SPAN in 1999 saying all the talking points that we're talking about today in 2019, almost 2 years before the 9/11 attacks happened. Let me repeat that. And believe me, it took him a little while to write the book. So if somebody actually calls in Dylan and asks him about the Mujahideen connection. And he's like, well, yeah, sometimes, we work with others for our interests because, hey, fuck you. That's basically how it goes down. So if you want to see something interesting, The Man Who Sold Us the Boogeyman in 1999, I think that's a really good one. We do deep dives here. We do great interviews like this. If you're just tuning in, Dylan Avery is my guest. Join the Bermas Brigade. Make sure you're subscribing. And by the way, look at this, Dylan.
If you ain't subscribing, you ain't thriving.
I don't know. You can ring that bell for notifications too, but we are more than a fourth of the way of the, yes, that's right, of the $5,000 a month goal to keep doing this, to do fun stuff like this, to do big AMAs with you guys, to have interesting guests on, to talk about real news, to not pander to Mike Pompeo and John Bolton's mustache. I refuse to do it. You're
really not a fan of that
I
mustache.
don't like that
That's
mustache.
Twice in one stream.
Yeah, listen, I don't like that mustache. I don't like those glasses. I don't like that pompous ass face. I don't like him calling for war with the neocons for 20 plus years. So, guys, $5, $10, $15, whatever. There's been some real generous people out there, even anonymous people that are keeping this afloat. And all I can say is thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's awesome. We're far from done with this one. Yes, we got a whole lot going on over here. So let's go back to the AMA section. Badingo, badongo. What do we got? All right, it's going to jump on me, isn't it? Sad but true. Is Tucker part of the divide and conquer? Here's the deal. I think that Tucker Carlson, I know a lot of people are going to say limited hangout, right? I have Robbie Martin of Meteor Roots on
Nice.
quite a bit. Yeah, no, Robbie's pretty good. Remember, you got to put that mic up. I want to hear it. Nice.
Nice.
Yes. So anyway, Robbie is very critical of him, but
Brother to Abby Martin, in case people aren't aware.
yeah, and Abby just released a new documentary 2 days ago about Gaza, Fight for Freedom.
She was supposed to come to our premiere of our doc in LA, but she was too busy prepping for hers. But I saw her at Remo's loft warming party.
Oh,
It's
really?
Good to see her.
Oh, great.
She's like, I didn't know you've been living in LA this whole time. I was like, well, I'm about to leave. So,
So, back to Tucker Carlson, right? I think.
oh, you don't cuss enough. So how about fucker Carlson?
Oh, did someone say that?
Yeah, you don't cuss enough. Just saying.
Listen, guys, it's 3:45 p.m. on a Sunday. I know that it's the Lord's Day, but we all know that I am agnostic at best. I believe in good and evil, and I don't try to promulgate or propagate any religion because I don't know. But I don't try to denigrate either. Back to the Tuckster. Back to the Tuckster. Look, I think that Tucker Carlson did a great job with Cenk Uygur, the supposed left, leaning person. I thought that debate was great. I think people can change their stripes. I think this is a rich, trust fund, intelligent person that has been on the inside for a long time, and he is just sick of killing brown people and having people like us killed and the police state that's building. I think he sees a lot of what I've been talking about for 15 years. It's right in his face. And he's like, you know what? I don't want to go down like a villain. And, you know who I compare him to? Olbermann back in the day. Remember when Olbermann was the lone, sane anti-war voice? And now he's like, Russia! Oh, Russia, Trump, Russia, 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 Russia. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? All your credibility is gone. Like, what happened? Speak to that, Dylan. You can add to Tucker if you want, but for instance, the Russia gate. Did you ever buy that? He was Putin's puppet.
I don't think it. I don't know what I think. I guess is the question. I never really got bought. I never bought into it and got swept up. And I was like, this. It's one of those things where I was like, okay, there's an investigation happening. Let's see how this investigation pans out. Not that government investigations are bulletproof.
Oh, Robert Mueller, we should totally try. Robert, what a good guy. That Robert Mueller guy, 9/11 guy, Robert Mueller.
There was a little bit of that going on too, where I was like, yeah, but you're also the guy that said that you didn't know who the hijackers were, and then 48 hours later you had their name and their blood type and all that shit. So
yeah, and you helped shut Robert Wright and Barry Carmody and all those whistleblowers up, and you acted like you didn't know what was up with Able Danger, and Kurt Weldon's a bad guy. Hey, Mueller, hug these nuts, bro. Go ahead.
I mean, how am I supposed to top that?
You don't have to top anything.
No, yeah, I don't. It's the thing is, I think that there's always there's the black and white of things that both are presented to us and that people interpret them as, and then I think there's kind of the gray area that reality operates in. And I think that may have been one of those situations where there might have been a gray area where he did work with Russia, but I don't think it. Because as far as I'm aware, there's enough documentation to connect Trump and Russia in some way.
It's all horseshit. All right, let me explain what happened.
Construction contracts?
Yeah, listen, all that stuff was just private business from years and years ago. What they got, right? So,
which again might be true, but that's what
no,
I'm saying.
No, that is true. That wasn't what they tried to say. They tried to say that somehow the big claims were that the WikiLeaks hacks, were the work of Russian agents from the GRU, and that, hold on, it gets better, and that those leaks basically were given by Assange, a Russia proxy to Assange. They knew they were from Russia, and Assange handed them over to whoever. Okay, so now there's...
It's like saying Russia was behind the Sony Pictures hack, you know?
Oh, well, first of all, they never even investigated the servers because it wasn't a hack. If you listen to the recorded conversation of Seymour Hersh...
We're not talking about Sony. We're talking about...
No, we're talking about these actual DNC documents, the Seth Rich stuff.
Gotcha.
So Seymour Hersh is on secret recordings. They are out in the public, yet the media doesn't want to tell you about them. You know who's going to tell you about them? Jason Bermas. In fact, you know what? We got the magic of the fucking internet here, huh? Woo, I'm sorry I'm cursing, guys. I need to stop.
You have to cuss. You were instructed to cuss.
I guess I was.
The people demand it.
We'll just type in Seymour Hersh and Seth Rich.
Author of the Pentagon Papers, let's not forget.
Yeah, I mean, Murder of Seth Rich Wiki, at least it's there. Let's go to videos, right? Timeline, Seth Rich story, leak Cyrus Hersh audio. So... you can go here, and basically he says Seth Rich took these documents. That's what all the evidence shows. He set up a Dropbox, and he got money in exchange for giving them to WikiLeaks. That is why Assange put out the, yes, he had submitted a bunch of juicy emails from the DNC. It wasn't hacked. Whatever happened to the Democrats wrote that shit. He offered WikiLeaks a sample, an extensive sample. Guys, I played it ad nauseum. I've done videos on it before. You can listen to the audio over here. They still haven't taken it offline. It's not made up. He's never denied it. When he's asked to go public, he's like, you got to be kidding me. When he was asked to talk about it, he's like, I'm not going to comment on this at all. So... in the Mueller report, remember that was divvied up from Russian collusion, which they couldn't find any of because it was imagination land. And instead, Papadopoulos there, George Papadopoulos, he was implicated in being an Israeli agent. And they actually had that small subsection. They're like, and then we just kind of dropped it. They put a small section in there about Assange propagating the Seth Rich conspiracy theory as a lie. And then they offer no evidence, and then they just move on. And again, everybody ignores this Hersh audio. It was not hacked by anybody. That's not to say that the GRU wasn't buying those ads. They were minimal. They weren't infiltrating the alternative media. They were. That's real. Like the Alice Donovan character, all that stuff. But they didn't hack emails and give them to Trump. So when they knew they couldn't get that, that's when they tried to get the perjury trap. Remember, they wanted him to testify? And they got him to say anything about his crooked dealings with Paul Manafort and every other satanic character he's worked with in the days. That was the next plan. They couldn't get that. So now, in order to try to obfuscate people flipping on him for other crimes, they came up with 11 instances of obstruction of justice. And now, like, remember in the 90s when girls were wearing trucker hats and guys at the very end, late 90s, early 2000s, during the Ashton Kutcher what era, you know what I'm talking about, right?
It's coming back to me.
Yes. Remember when pink was the new black? Remember that? Pink is the new black? Yeah, no. Obstruction of justice is the new Russian collusion. That's it, dude. That's the way it goes. So I didn't want to give that history lesson. Thanks for joining us on that. And Dylan, I don't know what else to say, buddy. Hopefully that was enlightening.
I got nothing. I got nothing. Again, like I've been kind of largely tuned out of politics for a while. I mean, obviously I'm not like ignorant to what's going on. It's not like I just don't care. But it's just like I'm just so fucking over it. Like just especially, I don't know. And honestly, I think part of it might have been that the complacency that came in with the Obama administration. I don't want to say that I got complacent, but I was just like, I mean, no one really seems to care about war or any of the things that they cared about like 6 months ago. So I'm just going to do my own thing, and we'll see how this pans out. And now we got President Trump, and now suddenly people are pissed off again. So.
Oh, Jason looks like a pig. Watch this. You're blocked. Everybody's like so tough on
the air.
Live on the air. Guys, you know I love blocking the trolls. Oh, David, thank you. Didn't even see the super chat. Jason, have you ever looked at the Act of 1871 that incorporated the U.S. government? Now, I'm not sure if Jordan Maxwell, when I interviewed him for Shade, talked about that or had talked about that kind of stuff in the past. But, you know, I know.
How long did you interview him for?
When we interviewed Jordan, it was over an hour. And then he wanted us to stay for the basketball game. I mean, it was me and Shepard. Yeah, you know what? I think that's the last trip I've been to California, maybe. That's in 2000 and either 11 or 12. It was fun. No, but I'll tell you what. I'm going to take that right now. We're not going to Google it live on air, but we're going to copy and paste it over here in another section, and I will take a look at that because you are one of my great viewers of the Bermas Brigade, and I see you commenting all the time.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, David, and I really do appreciate that super chat. Let's see. We got Tyson over here. Obama. Sorry. Let's see.
The homeless are being shipped. The homeless are being shipped somewhere.
Are they? I did. Yeah.
Just one
Isn't there?
comment.
There's something going on where Nancy Pelosi and yada yada yada, left right politics. Guys, just so everybody knows, when we talk about ICE, you know when ICE didn't exist? Pre 9/11. You know why it didn't exist?
No Department of Homeland Security?
That's right. No Department of Homeland, no fatherland security. See, border agents and the FBI and other departments did their jobs, and there wasn't just a huge bureaucracy to blame about a problem that was, going on before then. Oh, it's weird.
Weird.
It's weird. It's odd we don't ever talk about that. You know what I mean? All right, so what do we got?
And then again, that's kind of like, that's partially, it goes back a little bit to what I was saying earlier, is like 9/11 gave us the Department of Homeland Security, like
The TSA.
I was just going to say the TSA. Like flying has been...
Hey, you like getting fucking groped? You want to go through a cancer machine? How about I humiliate you? I got a great idea.
There was an article that I saw a while ago, and of course it's one of those things where I really need to look into it, make sure it's true. But apparently Europe is now trying to stop using body scanners because they could be bad for your health.
A lot of European nations right out of the gates back in 2012, 2013 banned them because of course they could be bad for your health. Listen, I'll take the groping. If you want a quick nutsack touch, hey, it's on you. Hopefully I'm wearing sweatpants. You get right in there, I don't want tight jeans. I want them to absorb it,
Yeah, anytime I get like tested for bomb residue or any of this shit, I just kind of like stand there and stare at them. I'm like, do you actually like think that you're doing something right now? Or
they're not.
like...
Did you just see? Some dude just ran through the TSA swinging. Some 19-year-old dude in like a hoodie, and I mean it was raucous,
just
man.
Like just throwing punches.
Just throwing punches. I don't want to even. Yeah, why not? We're doing a fun little thing here, guys.
To YouTube.
Yes, this is the Dylan Avery, Jason Bermas off the cuff AMA. That's the Hirsch stuff to look for. I'm gonna say 19-year-old
Look at the
TSA.
Suggested searches.
I don't want to even know.
19-year-old pregnant. 19-year-old missing.
19-year-old TSA swings. This is it, yeah.
Video extra.
Oh, I was on the video part, huh?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
He just runs in with this red hood.
A violent struck.
Oh, he just ran right through. Yeah. It's nuts, dude. Watch. Here we go. He just comes right through. Nope, not having it.
Nope,
What's up?
Nope.
What's
nope.
up? Oh, you know what? YouTube will demonetize me for that kind of stuff. Let's stop. I forgot about that.
This goes against our community guidelines.
Well, not only community guidelines, I can't do the news there. They'll think that that's violent. Luckily, it was really quick and hopefully blurry. But we'll see. We'll see how that rolls.
It's just a surveillance video.
It doesn't matter, dude.
Like, no, it's just so stupid.
It's crazy. Broke down the Iran situation pretty good with that deep dive. Bermas, will you talk about the Jewish angle on it? I always talk about Israel's angle on it because that's a very real angle. I mean, Trump Heights is real. But when we group an entire race and religion of people, no, I don't talk about that because that's ridiculous. That's like saying, the Africans. The Africans are behind everything.
Or white people did 9/11.
I hate that. Any of it. I'm just not, a race or religion guy. I talk about all the time. Again, Israel's really held back on talking about what's going on with Iran, which is shocking since they've been frothing at the mouth. But we also know that Pompeo just went over to India right now to talk to them about upping the military presence of the United States in that region. Why? That's one of their weaker points surrounding Iran. I mean, you look at that region and they got them. They got them, guys. I promise. So they're shoring that up. So that's my answer to you, Chuck Master. David E. Burton, love from the UK. Well, thank you, Daisy. Joe Howard, I'm not sure what link you're looking at. Andrew Yang 2020, no thank you. I can't imagine. Listen, guys, I can't imagine of a universal basic income that's just going to raise the price of more. People are going to mismanage that money just like with any social welfare system. I don't know how you feel about Andrew Yang. You know who he is? The Yang Gang?
Yeah.
What do you think of the UBI? It's a bad idea, right?
Oh, the universal basic income,
Yeah.
$1,000 a month. I mean, I wouldn't mind $1,000 a month.
But what's
yeah.
that going to do for you with everybody has it? Like, this is how I look at it. If you give it to, let's say you give it to him annually, right? $12,000. The weakest
12,000 or 1,200?
well, 12,000.
Oh, yeah,
I'm saying up front, 1,000 a month. So let's say you do that annually, or even you break it up into two biannual payments, or let's say quad annual payments. The majority of the people that are already on so much assistance now, you know what I mean? Medicaid, doesn't have a job, they're, HUD, WIC, the whole thing, right? Several children. What are they going to do with that money? They're going to spend it right away on frivolous bullshit. It's not like they're going to get a car with it. You know what I mean? If it was $12,000 and they got a car, and they all of a sudden they get to work, yeah, I see how that works. That's not what's going to happen. It's going to be, I've got an awesome new TV, a video game system, and the kids are going to eat well for a fucking couple weeks.
I mean, I could use a new TV, but I also work. So,
yeah, and you know what? I got a great TV out there. It was delivered here for $191 from Cyber Monday. 55-inch, 4K, no smart features to dangle their nozzle in my life all the time. I love it.
I hate smart TVs.
Don't even get me going. I used to like them, but now they have the cameras and the microphones in them. When it was just internet connected, bad enough.
Even when it is like just internet connected, like I don't trust that shit.
Well, I mean, my Xbox One is it's pretty much a smart TV in a box. It's my entertainment center, and that does have a microphone on it. So I mean, Tomato, Microsoft, Google, they all work with the military-industrial complex. Yay!
You had to squeeze that in.
I wanted to.
Had to tack on an extra measure.
Why not? All right, so let's keep going here. Los Angeles City Council raised the rent. Two wings of the same bird of prey.
I can confirm that LA rent is ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, I can't imagine. New York City rent is ridiculous, too. Is he sitting like 5 feet behind you? He's actually right next to me. It's kind of weird.
Well, but it's like, but my chair, like.
Yeah, you go back, and I'm not quite going back. I'm a leaner. He's a leaner.
Well, you've also been doing this move too.
Yeah. So the side move. Well, you gotta talk into your goddamn microphone.
I'm sorry. I'm used to having a wireless mic.
I'm
so
sorry. Well, you don't. This is rookie year. You're the first in
it's
studio.
not that it's rookie. I'm just.
No, it's amateur hour
What
in
I'm
here.
used to.
All right.
So here you go.
What do we got? The difference is all for the show. Renee, just something I read might be wrong. AMA. Here we go. Do you think that the disclosure UFO has a government agenda, or do you think they can't just keep denying all this? This info was in WikiLeaks. All right. First of all, what info was in WikiLeaks? I've read through all this stuff, and I want to say this. I'm going to save most of this for my You've already seen the thumbnail. You were quite amused. Again, you're going to need that mic.
He's got a good thumbnail coming out, guys. Don't you worry. It's a real zinger. Photoshop skills are on point.
I think. Well, thank you. Yes. I think there's very much the possibility of life, and even that being covered up. I think 99.9% of the stuff that's out there is complete garbage. I think when you look at Mirage Men and the story of Richard Doty and others, the purposeful disinfo is very much real, right? So, I don't trust Stephen Greer at all. I don't think anybody should trust Stephen Greer. I've watched just about everything UFO and NASA you can imagine.
You remember the big marketing build-up for Sirius where it was just like, we've
got
an alien! We got a tiny alien! And you watch it and they're like, well, I mean, it's just a tiny, tiny human.
Yeah, it looks like it's like a fetus or something like that. Yeah. And again, who knows? I'm not trying to shit on anybody. But I don't trust them. I think there's a lot of disinformation in that. And, today I talked about quantum computing a lot and the nature of reality and the multiverse and the fact that they're really kind of selling you this reality in which you don't have free will and you're not important. I think that's dangerous. I think that's a bad perspective to come out. But I'm telling you right now, guys, you right now can change your life at any moment. I try not to sit there and wallow in depression. If you're not pushing forward, you're not pushing anywhere. And that's the bottom line.
If you ain't pushing forward, you're rolling backward.
Dude, I mean, you can sit there and stagnant and unhappy and blame shit on other people, or you can finally just say, look, I'm going to do this, and it might not be perfect at first, but I'm going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling with it. And you have the choice every day to do good, whether or not you're pushing forward. You have the choice to do evil. You have the choice to be the kind of person you want. I'm a big believer in free will, and I think that from the quantum agenda to aliens to us uploading our consciousness into the singularity of beings or whatever and becoming a robot, that's some dehumanizing bullshit. And we got to be dangerous. I mean, I think it's dangerous. I think that we have to be careful in what we believe in and promote. That's just my angle. Did you sprinkle the Beetlejuice shaman dust on him?
Beetlejuice.
Beetlegeist, isn't it?
Beetlegeist is how it was spelled, but it was pronounced Beetlejuice. It was a running joke in the film.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, I guess it was.
Bro, do you even Beetlejuice?
You know, we Beetlejuice the other night, like maybe a month ago. I had the kids watch it again.
Because remember, Alec Baldwin's like Beetlegeist, and then she like corrects him, but
You know,
but that's how it's spelled. So
Yeah. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Let's see. When I learned about the Franklin scandal, it shook me to my core. I definitely took a research break after that. It was a tough one. The Bohemian Grove story with the boys is a very tough story.
I feel so sorry for the homeless. That being said, I want all the homeless disappeared.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
First of all, now that the New York has gotten rid of marijuana as, I guess, illegal, it's decriminalized. You can still get a fine for it. But they're about to expunge 900,000 arrests. All right? Hopefully this is going to start getting some of these lower-level drug criminals completely out. We're going to commute sentences on even people that were dealing marijuana. It's ridiculous. Now, the prison system is not what I'm suggesting for the homeless. I'm suggesting that we use those type of resources to have better homeless community centers. All right, we could obviously do that without imprisoning people, and obviously mental health is another one of these things that we have to work on.
Well, and honestly, like I think a lot of America's problems just stem from a mental health crisis.
Well, you know what? When you're just prescribing or over-prescribing drugs that you don't even know what's going to work, you're just kind of throwing it out there for a profit.
Or like when suicide medication for suicidal thoughts causes suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. No. Suicidal thoughts and actions. And they don't ever tell you that a lot of these people, take others with them. That's homicidal. When you're suicidal, you also don't care about those around you. They never talk about that. There's plenty of people that are just, listen, they want to take someone with them. And that's some dark shit, but that's some real stuff. Whenever I see somebody who just snaps and kills their entire family and then they kill themselves, I think to myself, was that person on some kind of SSRI drug? And I'm not trying to say I'm a doctor here. I'm not giving you medical advice, but I'll tell you this. Your mental and physical health are very entwined. The more physically healthy you feel, the more mentally healthy you feel. The more mentally healthy you feel, the more physically healthy you feel. And the more you're able to achieve.
Where'd he go? Joe Howard, do a show with beer, not coffee. I apologize. I just drove 3 hours from Jersey, and I had a rough weekend of working and shooting, so it's coffee for now. But maybe when we do this again, we'll go down to Beer Town. I'll get a nice IPA. Get weird with it.
Happy Kitty, Avery, you rock. Thank you, Jason, for introducing. Well, thank you for watching Happy Kitty. I know you watch a lot of these videos. I really appreciate it. Grateful Tread Truckin'. Hello. Well, hello to you.
Oh, well, hello, Grateful Tread Truckin'.
Yes. Holy President GW was hoodwinked by Jesus. He didn't believe in Jesus. I'll tell you right now. Listen, George W. Bush had a male madam and prostitute in the White House many an evening named James Guckert, a.k.a. James Gannon. You look into that scandal. I did a video on it. Go check out my Bohemian Grove video and my Pete Bootlicker video. The Buttigieg guy, I can never say his... I just call...
Pete B. Just call him
PDB. PDB. I'll never forget when Obama came on the air from the White House with special report. I'll never forget when he said that the OBL was done for. I saw people celebrating.
I saw the live footage. Like people outside the White House waving American flags.
Hey,
we got him!
We got him!
Motherfucker, you didn't get anything. You sat at home on the couch for the last 10 years.
And you don't even know what happened there. There's another,
They dropped him in the fucking ocean.
Well, if they did.
You know what I mean? But they're just like, yeah, we got him.
Well, they also said that he had a copy of Loose Change in Tarpley's book and Fritz Springermeyer's Bloodlines of the Illuminati. He supposedly had all those things. And let me say this, Dylan. On top of all that, Seymour Hersh has picked that thing apart relentlessly. Again, we're bringing up Hersh because he's one of the last real journalists. Thank you, Seymour.
I never thought when I was making Loose Change that it would be seen by fucking Bin Laden. The guy.
Or did it? I mean,
yeah, it was. On
I'm not
his
saying
computer.
something didn't go down there, but again, it looked like he was being protected by the Pakistani military, probably the ISI. Weird. We've been talking about that ISI connection forever. If you watch Fabled Enemies, I show you the clip where people inside the Pakistani hospital where they were giving him dialysis and protecting him on the night before 9/11. The Dan Rather report.
Well, because there was 2 incidents where he was visiting the hospital. It was like June or July 2001, and then like the week before.
No, it was the night.
Was it the night
The
before?
night, but if you watch that Dan Rather report, the guy who's in the dark is like, it's kind of like you hear about Mohammed Morsi. I think I was telling you about this, the Egyptian president that got overthrown. I mean, there you have a guy that starts saying he's going to name names in court in a glass enclosure. And then he drops dead in the glass enclosure. This all goes down last week. There's no video of it. There's no photographs of it. And the only reason we know is because some official who doesn't want to be named tells the story. Oh, by the way, he said he was going to name names, and then he died in the cage. And no, we never got to the hospital.
He's not naming shit now.
Yeah, he's not naming a goddamn person at all. All right, let's see. Wow, Jason, we have the same faith views. Hooray for Gen X. Listen, I'm not perfect. I don't want to try to impose my views on anybody. I think discernment is a good thing. Tyson versus Gracie. Gracie all day. Gracie now. Oh, you guys, Freeman, you guys are crazy. I've been around Hoist a couple times. I sat with Henzo and his family over at MSG last Friday at Bellator. Henzo's a lot smaller than Hoist. Hoist's a big dude. And remember, Tyson's a big dude too, but he's my height, and Gracie's friggin' huge, dude, and he's just going to wrap him up. I'm sorry. Tyson's not putting him to sleep before that. That jiu-jitsu don't go away. They were training a 4-year-old, his grandson, right there. Like, forget about it. Forget about it. The Trump trial planned in Russia is also the wild card. I mean, it's nonsense to me. Let's get past that super chat. We already did it, right? Yes, we did that one.
Ooh, we got a message held for review. Can we review that? The gray one below it, I guess?
Yeah, we'll get there. Let's see. I do believe that we were forced into a war. They will definitely be a draft. I hope not.
If that we were forced into a war.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of were. We have been. Now, you know what? There won't be a draft, and I'll tell you why. Because Eric Prince rebranding Blackwater to Blackwater after XE Services and Academy, and that is a huge PMG, privatized military group business that is now global. So you know what I mean, Dylan? It's not. That's the new infrastructure. He was trying to say we were going to get out of Afghanistan and Iraq, but he was just going to sell it down the river to these PMG groups. That's even more dangerous. They're less accountable than the people that get away with monstrosities on behalf of our own government.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the fear during the Bush era, is that there was going to be a draft and we were all going to have to go to war.
A very real fear. Yeah.
Thankfully, it didn't happen. So, I mean, that's kind of my thing. Is like, it would take like a similar crazy build up to a war like the Iraq War in order for there to even be talks of a draft. And thankfully, I don't know if I see that happening anytime soon. I could be wrong.
I don't think a draft is even on the table. I mean, but then again, this is a 60 to 80 million people. You know, we're not talking, this isn't a cakewalk. So, again, They tried to bait them not only with that Global Hawk drone, but they had a Navy plane in the area that had 35 people on it. Can you imagine if Iran had killed one person, let alone 35? They would have been off to the races. Jason, multinational corporations interfere with elections a million times more than nation states. Russian interference is a ridiculous concept created by some pub. I totally agree. 100%. Let's see. Super Predator. Trump strategized for quite a while prior to running. Also, he knows all the bullshit, the pedos and pedo politics and pedocracies. Yeah, well, listen, I like the DOJ getting 1,700 of them. I like the reopening of the investigation into Epstein. I would have liked to see some more action against Bronfman in that latest Nexium trial. That didn't make me feel good. And I've always said this. You know, Trump twice promised us the JFK documents, and he said he was going to drain the swamp. If you can't expose the deep state from the 1960s that assassinated a president, how the fuck are you going to take on the deep state now and drain the swamp?
That's one of the things that pissed me off when, like, people, you know, some people from the 9/11 movement, especially from, you know, the old group, I don't want to name group names or names in general, but people were like, oh, well, you know, you should support Trump because he's going to reopen the 9/11 investigation. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, he dropped Saudi Arabian type hints, and then all of a sudden, you know what was crazy? The Obama administration didn't let him really dump that right before he got in. They're the ones that released those 28 pages finally, right? But right after those 28 pages were released and Trump gets in, he does a $400+ billion arms deal with the Saudi Arabians as their role in 9/11 is made clearer than ever.
And Trump even said, like, Saudi Arabia did 9/11. Well, then why the fuck are you doing business with them?
Well, And
Well, I mean, we know why.
well, we could go into Yemen and how he vetoed that bill, which passed through. Not only did it pass through Congress and the Senate, but they even gave him a loophole that if it was a joint Israeli operation, they would still do it. So all they had to do was tag on the Israel who wanted in, and they could have done it anyway. But instead, Trump vetoed that. It would have been largely for show.
Yeah.
And then just less than a month ago, there was another deal that was barred from Congress for sale, which was worth 22. What was it? No, it was 22 arms deals worth $8 billion. And he's just like, emergency order. I'm trumping.
Yes, sir, I'm trumping.
He's trumping. All right, I got to watch myself. There's some Trump lover. Listen, when he does stuff good, Trans-Pacific Partnership, trying to get away from mandatory health care.
Getting rid of the Obamacare tax penalty.
That's what I'm saying. Like, exactly. There was a lot of things he did do, and I give him credit for. He said we were getting out of the wars in the Middle East, and he was cleaning up the swamp. Okay? I know I've been talking about being balls deep in that mustached man in a while. But, yeah, I mean, someone needs to say it.
That's three.
That's three.
That's three.
That's the Onion is doing better reporting on John Bolton than most mainstream outlets are.
Dude, and like we've officially reached the point where like, A, real news is more ridiculous than the Onion, and B, the Onion has become real news. Like I guess it sounds like a contradiction when I describe it, but you know what I mean. Like,
No, I totally get it.
The Onion's like, what do we do? Like, what can we say that's more ridiculous than what's going on right now?
It seems we have another super chat. A few super chats. Oh my goodness.
Got some catching up.
We got some guys. Well, excuse me for not going quick enough. Let's just skip through to the super chats and then we'll kind of go through them. Let's see. All right, James Miller, Jason, George Soros, or his organizations have been banned from Russia and Hungary. Do you ever see a familiar situation in the United States? He's the cause of much of the civil unrest in the U.S. Listen, Soros is not a good guy. And Soros just put money into Vice, $250 million into Vice as they were failing. I don't like Media Matters. I've talked about Soros. I've talked about David Brock. I just don't think that you just harp on that one individual because let me tell you something. Just like Henry Kissinger, it's not so much the individual, but his foundations, his ideal set, and the things that he's erected, such as the Kissinger Institute, and like I just said, Media Matters, and other organizations, well, they're going to be around for a long time, and so is their ideology. So Soros is completely fucking dangerous. James, great comment. And here's the thing. We don't ban anybody in this country until we're propagating against that side. You know, again, I think it is a real problem that we have dual Israeli citizens in our government and AIPAC is so large. But I also think it's a problem that the Saudi royal family is making billions of dollars in arms deals. You know, that's bad. I don't like our European entanglements with the Queen. We're literally doing business. I mean, Prince Andrew, who is Epstein's buddy and named in many of these suits, that was his main envoy while he visited. Trump's meeting and playing golf with Prince Andrew, a well-known and investigated you-know-what. That's an issue. Them being above the law. By the way, the Saudi royal family was there. So I don't like any of these power structures that have influence over our country, which should be a constitutional republic with three separate branches of government, the judicial, the executive, and the legislative, where they actually act upon one another. We don't live in that. We have a national security state. That's it. When it gets too hot, national security, we won't tell you anything. We let others invest. It's just like China has been investing for years, and now we're pumping up the trade war. Did a video on that. Go to the Jason Bermas YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, get there. We're going through the super chats. Let's super chatty. Let's see. Oh, wow, this is going to be a long one. I don't know if I'm going to read it. Joe Howard, you need a beer.
Okay, so confirm. Next stream, beer stream.
I mean, there's beers if you want to go rent. Yeah, I don't want.
Right.
Yeah, we don't need a beer. You know what, man? I don't want to encourage that in front of the kids anyway. I don't drink at home. Believe it or not, I ran a bar for quite some time, worked in a bar for quite some time, been a bar rat for quite a long time. And I do not drink
you're
at
more
home.
than a bar rat, though.
Chuck
You're more
Master,
like
have you guys seen the recently released cache of 2,500 9/11 cleanup pictures found at an estate sale? I don't know if that's that new. Any interest in Intel or is 9/11 research over? It's not over for me. I mean, especially, I don't think it's that new. Someone sent to me. I think it came out in 2015.
I mean, there was one, I think it was like a couple of years ago on the anniversary, but like the news was like, check out this never-before-seen video of 9/11, and it was like one of the first videos that had ever come out, and they're just like, look at this new footage that just got discovered. Like,
I see that every once in a while. I'd say this. The most interesting thing that I've seen, I don't know if I've talked to you about this yet, though. When I saw Vice, I got really upset because that initial scene...
I did not watch the movie.
Well, within 5 minutes of the movie, it's from a flashback scene when he's like a drunk at a truck stop to the morning of 9/11 when they're taking him to the PEOC. All right? And, obviously we've done a ton of work on that. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that Cheney was in the PEOC prior to the Pentagon strike. So anyway, I was about to do a fact versus fiction Cheney video. I did a fact versus fiction Barry Seal video when they did that Tom Cruise movie, which did pretty well, which I think is also important. But anyway, I started going, and they released all these pictures from 2015 from the morning of 9/11, and there's about a dozen of them where Cheney is in his office at 9:34, according to the television footage.
I was actually going to bring that up, that there are like pictures that show him in his office when he supposedly was in the PEOC.
Now, I want to go, yeah, exactly. So I want to go over the possibilities on that. The possibility is that we got it wrong. We're human beings, and that, because of the misreporting, maybe. There's the possibility.
Well, and also bolstered by Minetta's testimony, which is the whole reason you kind of go down that rabbit hole in the first place.
Well, not only Minetta's testimony, but the initial Secret Service response that was reported as well. There was a lot of stuff. So you have that, but then there is the possibility that maybe they took these after. The Photoshop possibility, not really there to me. If you look at the metadata, it seems like you saw that, right?
Well, and actually I looked in the metadata, and it, because they weren't digital pictures.
Mm-hmm,
they were filmed.
They were
so,
filmed.
Like the metadata showed when they were basically developed, which I think was like the next day or something.
Yeah, something like that. And
Yeah.
not only that with the metadata, but I do Photoshop a lot. I have for a long time. This guy's done it for a long time. I looked at those. I zoomed in. That would have been an expert job to smooth in the TV frames and to know, because I frame by frame.
It even had the the interlacing lines on it too.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. And the camera grain on top. Now, there's one other possibility. Remember, they do have a lot of resources. And I'm not backing these. I'm just saying, hey, they're out there. I'm saying, listen, there's a possibility that they knew they were going to have to do this, and maybe the next day before they developed it, they staged those pictures with a VCR recording. That's about that. Those are the only possibilities. I think that's a low probability.
Because there was a project I was involved in that was basically dealing like exclusively with the Cheney angle and like Cheney that morning, and we must have spent like a good half hour just like zooming in and going through that whole picture and just like trying to analyze what the remote was that he was holding, whether it was a VCR remote or a TV remote. I think we actually found it was a VCR remote, but you can also line cable through your VCR.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was the same thing. We were just like, I mean, that looks pretty real. I mean, I don't know. 2001 era Photoshop ain't current day Photoshop.
And
so.
again, all I'm saying is that we're looking at all angles, and I'm trying to be as honest as possible. That's something other people would try to bury, but I'm not going to bury it. If the evidence is out there, I'm not here to be right all the time. I'm here to put information out that contradicts obvious lies. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully there will be beers all around Josh Freeman. I'm loving the super chats, guys. I'm loving them. Dancing Israelis, I did a whole 46-minute expo on that. And by the way, guys, I'm going to be doing more. And by the way, there's a 20-minute section on Israel, Amdocs, Converse, and more in Fabled Enemies, the international intelligence op movie I did. Jim Hyden, tell the major corporate media and news celebrities to stop parroting Trump's hate speech, inciting war and mayhem. All right, well, let's say this.
Tell him, Bermas.
Listen, Jim Hyden, I'll say this. Trump has actually said, today he said, I'm not a hawk, I'm not a dove. They called me a hawk, they called me a dove. I'm neither. I have common sense. I don't know that he has common sense. I don't know that he's a hawk. I don't know that he's a dove. I think he's a crafty egomaniac. Like, he put out that tweet. We went over that the other day with Robbie Martin, but he put out that tweet where he was going to be the president forever, or the Trump effect was going to last.
Oh, yeah, like if I don't get reelected, my supporters are going to throw a fit.
Well, no kidding.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
That's why they're supporters.
Yeah. Listen, I think he thought he was going to go in there with a Superman cape and clean up the world. I really do believe that. But that's not reality. That's not how things work. And the president, again, if he couldn't give us the JFK documents, which I'm sure he really thought he was going to do, he knows that his power is limited. Like when I talk about that speech he gave about the military-industrial complex, and then in the same thing, they were going crazy. As soon as I wanted to get out of Syria, you should have heard the place. The military-industrial complex is very real. Did a whole video. I'm like, holy shit! And then all of a sudden he's like, but they're over in Afghanistan, and that's like, where the hijackers trained. It's not. And then he calls it the Harvard University of Terrorism.
No training happening in Afghanistan.
No, there's zero. The Taliban was just kind of like thrown on there. They're like, you know what? They didn't want to deal the oil to us. Taliban. Like, and we're fucking retarded, and we fell for it. Period. That's real. All right, let's see if there's any more super chattings.
Landscaping's going on outside. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's what they can barely hear that. Really, is that it? Did we make it? Is it? Oh, I don't know.
You had to do a lot of scrolling up.
Oh no, there's more. The Crazy Renee channel. Hey, Crazy Renee. My cousin was married to a rocket scientist who was in the Pentagon during the 9/11 attack. After that, they had to move to Germany and couldn't speak of that day. Well, what is it? April Gallup who was the one that came out the front that we interviewed?
April Gallup.
Yeah, April Gallup. I mean, she was in subsequent documentaries later on to tell her story, but we have footage of that was never aired. In fact, let's talk about that really quick while we go through some more of these chats, because I think I'm going to just check really quick. But Dylan, why don't you talk about our road from Loose Change Second Edition to Loose Change Final Cut, how we actually did our own investigation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things, well, actually, it wasn't one of the first, it was near the end, but I mean, one of the things going into the third edition is, we have to go to Arlington. We have to go and actually interview eyewitnesses, interview people that claim to have seen the plane, interview whoever we can find, and, to actually try and do the work that people accuse us of not doing, which wasn't that we didn't want to do it. It's we didn't have the money to second edition. There's 2 interviews, and one of them's from the first edition.
Yeah.
And the second one only happened because we had to fly out to California for the KPFK fundraiser, and someone we knew Willie Rodriguez and was like, you should interview this guy. So it's basically dropped
And then,
in our
by the
lap.
way, we did a much longer interview with Willie Rodriguez that never makes it into the movie, because of these difficulties. So, what was it, the Shinky brothers?
We're cool. Oh, yeah, the Shinky brothers. Yeah, they ran the auto repair shop, right at the top of the hill.
I mean, people don't realize, we spent time in D.C. area. We went to California. We went to New York.
I did that last-minute trip to Shanksville with Gideon, where we interviewed a bunch of people. Interviewed fucking the mayor of Indian Lake, who's no, there were definitely 2 planes that flew over our house, and one of them did not sound like a plane.
So, again,
the mayor of Indian Lake, not just some random guy on a fucking corner, the guy that is the mayor of the place that's right next to Shanksville.
So there's a lot of criticism out there about us, but I always say the same thing. We've always kind of stuck to our guns. I know that you've been in some interviews where people try to say you've, retracted your ways, but really you've just said, I wanted to move on. And that, you weren't questioning it as hard.
Or that I just don't want to fucking talk about 9/11 my whole life. I got different movies coming out. I got different things that I'm doing.
And they're always going to try to pigeonhole you with that.
It's stupid.
I know it is. It's tough because, again.
Did you see me on Adult Swim?
I did see that. Yes. I bet you. I would never done anything like that.
Well, that's the thing is, I knew it was Adult Swim. I mean, they didn't just come to me and say, we want you to be on the Craft Punk Variety Hour on Adult Swim. It's I'm reaching out to you on behalf of Turner Broadcasting, and we're working on a new discussion program to educate the young people about the importance of free speech on the internet. And I was like,
yeah,
bullshit alarm just exploded in my brain.
Well, remember when
but I literally wrote back and I was like, is this for Adult Swim? And then 2 or 3 days went by and they were like, yeah, it's for Adult Swim, but you're literally the only person that we're telling, so keep it to yourself. Do you still want to come on? And I was like,
I do love Adult Swim.
I do love Adult Swim. I grew up watching it. I was writing the
Boondocks is coming back with Magruder.
It is.
That's awesome.
I was writing the original screenplay for Loose Change while Adult Swim was on in the living room. So I was like, whatever, I'll do it. And weirdest hour of my life. It was longer than an hour. We filmed for so long.
I bet you. Yeah, they always do that. The Eric Andre show, I hear is brutal, and that's an offshoot of that show. When you talk about that kind of stuff and the media stuff. It's incredible to me that it's this far along, and nobody's even showing up to these things anymore. But they're ready to go to war with Iran, right? Jim Stewart lectures Congress about the Zadroga Act. We actually spent time with James Zadroga before he died.
Did you see who was sitting next to?
Yeah, John Field.
John Field.
I actually mentioned our work with John Field, and what was really incredible is, I only got a few thousand views on that. But I told people, I had the Feel Good Foundation up. He's still taking donations. I go, if you want to make a difference today, tell him Jason sent you. And somebody got in the comments and was like, yeah, I told them that. And they said that was the 4th or 5th person who said that. So listen, Feel Good Foundation, F-E-A-L, Feel.
Feel with an E,
Yeah,
I think?
F-E-A-L.
F-E, but I think, isn't there an E at the end of Feel? Or no, maybe it's not. I'm sorry.
Oh, let's see.
I should know that, but
I'm thinking.
no, you might be right because it was definitely Feel Good Foundation. But I think I'm
Yeah.
I'm throwing an extra E in there. I don't know why. I'm so sorry, John Feel.
No, it's fine. If you really want to help me out right now, I love all the super chats and stuff. Great, but again, give this guy a call. 631-724-3320. Been making a difference in first responders' lives now for well over 15 years. A real pioneer.
It was really refreshing to see that shot and to see John Feel sitting next to Jon Stewart. I was like, you know what? Good for John Feel.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's still out there, and I'm glad that the bill was literally passed the next day.
Yep.
Like after that clip went on the internet and back, like they're like, we should probably pass this thing.
Yes.
This is not a good look. Jon Stewart is taking us to class.
To school, big time. You know what, Dylan? It has actually been a whole hour ski. So, guys, if you like this, if you like long form interviews, we're doing more. If you like deep dives, we're doing those too. If you want to see the man who sold you Bin Laden, he's right here, a little Yosef Badonsky.
And if you enjoyed me for some reason, let Jason know, and I'll come back and we'll drink beer and we'll get weird with it.
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to do. I mean, this is mid-afternoon. I thought I was going to have you on at night, but we're going to do more videos today. blackandbluefilm.com is the website. And guys, again, we're more than a fourth of the way there. I'm feeling it. I think we're going to take the Bermas Brigade big time. We're going to hit 30K before you know it. By the way, if you're new and you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? We're doing real news, and I'm going to be doing that UFO alien kind of deep dive-ish AMA opinion piece probably later this evening. If there's anything else big out there you want me to cover, tell me about it in the comments. Otherwise, guys, as always, I will see you on the flip side.